Okay, so let's look at the rest of our review. Starting at problem number 7, we just have a couple of problems. I don't think they're going to be that difficult to look at, but sometimes word problems and things seem a little challenging. So in this problem, it says Sam lives exactly halfway between these two friends of his, Danny and Leo. So the issue is if he lives exactly in between, then really we would call his place the midpoint. So we had a simple formula, which just basically says take the two x's, add them together, and divide by 2. And then take the two y values and add them together and divide them by 2. So if I were to take the two endpoints, 9 and -4, so -4 plus 9, now -4 plus 9 is 5. So that means 5 divided by 2, which would be 2.5. Now you could say 5 halves, you could say 2.5. We actually like both of those equally well. But then we look at the y values. Those y values were 4 plus -8 divided by 2, which added up to -4 over 2, which is -2. So again, I just add the two values together, divide by 2, and I'm literally done that quickly. So that was the location of where Sam's house would be. Now for number 8, the big issue that they asked here is they said two angles were supplementary. And that means they're going to add up to 180 degrees. Remember, complementary means they add up to 90. Supplementary is the one that adds up to 180. So I'm going to basically say that 2x minus 9 and 4x plus 12, the two angles that they provided, are going to be equal to 180. And this is really almost like the angle addition postulate in a way. It's describing something where the two angles create some larger value. These wouldn't have to be side by side. That's why it's not exactly the angle addition postulate. But 2 and 4 make 6, -9 and 12 make 3. And so if we subtract 3 from both sides and divide by 6, let's see, 177. I don't think that divides in nicely. I got 29.5. Now, we always want to double check because sometimes we think we're done when we do that, but it didn't say we're done. It said now we'll find each angle. So one of the angles would be 2 times that, so 2 times 29.5. And then I'm supposed to take away 9. So the measure of this angle, ABD, measure of angle ABD would be 50 degrees. And hopefully we're going to find out then that the angle of CBD would be 130 degrees because they have to add up to 180. But I'm going to double check that because that's a way for me to be sure that I did it right. So 4 times 29.5 and then add 12 to that. And I hope we got it. And we did. We got 130 that I was hoping for. Now, number 9 is kind of a weird one. It talks about this density story, and it's asking what the density of the United States is, and that's going to be the number of people per square mile. Like, so every time you looked at a square mile on a map, how many people, if you just spread everybody out perfectly, how many would be sitting in each one of those squares? So what we're going to do is we're going to take 325.7 million. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this and actually write it out completely. And then I'm going to write down, that's the number of people. And then we're going to write 3535, let's see, 3535932. And I'm just going to divide those two numbers by each other. So let's see, 3257, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Make sure you get the right number of zeros, and then 3,535,932, and I got 92.1. So that means if you could make the United States into a whole bunch of boxes that are exactly a mile by a mile, and you can kind of picture how long that is, should be about 92 people would fit in every one of those boxes throughout the entire United States. But of course, some of those boxes are going to be very full. Some of those boxes, like in North Dakota, are going to be very empty, but that gives you an average of what it would look like. Now, area, first one, fairly straightforward. We're going to use 1/2 base times height. The base being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it looks like to me. Yep. And the height being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This particular case, they did count by ones. I looked to be sure because I've been burned many times. Half of 6 is 3. 3 times 8 is 24. So this is 24 square units. Or you can say 6 times 8 is 48 and cut it in half. Either one, they're both good. Now, this shape is a trapezoid, and we want to write down our formula for the area of a trapezoid. So it's the two bases added together and divided by 2, multiplied by the height. Now, this top base, again, they're counting by ones, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The bottom base goes all the way from -6 to +4, which is 10. So I would have base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2, and then the height is how much separation there is between these anywhere on a perpendicular, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So depending on how you want to do it, we could add these together and divide, and I get 7.5. And 7.5 times 4 should be 30. And so I got 30 square units would be the area of that particular trapezoid. Not a complicated shape. That's why we added the other problem that we had you guys do in class. And then our last one, this guy Liam, he wants to put up a fence for his garden, and he wants to know how much fencing he needs. So I did what I think you should do, because it says use tools. And so my tool was graph paper. So Liam has this fence that he wants to put up, and he wants to connect these up. And so again, based on what I understand of how you do a fence, I think these are the ones that we'd want to do. And Liam wants to know the right values. And so there's a lot of ways that we could play this game. But the easiest way would just be to count across here. And so since we're going from 2 all the way to 16, this length is 4. That's pretty nice. From here to here is up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, again, if you didn't use graph paper or you counted by something other than ones, be very, very cautious. And then over here we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That should be 9. So far I have very easy numbers. Now on the last one, I could choose 2 options. One, I could use the distance formula between points A and C, or I could break it up into pieces and use the Pythagorean theorem like we talked about. So point C is 2, 2, and point A was 7, 7. So the distance formula between those two is going to be the second x minus the first x squared plus the second y minus the first y squared. And 7 minus 2 is 5. So 5 squared, which would be 25, plus another 5 squared, which is another 25, would make a total of the square root of 50, which is just a little bit more than 7. I think we saw that one in class earlier today. So that was 7.07, right? 7.07. But then I wanted the perimeter. I want to know how much fencing he needs, and that would be 7.07 plus 14 plus 5 and plus another 9. And so it looks to me like Liam would need 35.07 units of fencing for his particular garden. And it might be feet, it might be yards, but I don't, oh, it actually does say square foot. So this would be 35.07 feet. It's a pretty short fence, I can tell you for sure. This would be a very small garden. But that will do it for the video on the review. I hope that was helpful to you. Remember, pictures are really helpful. All right, I'll see you back in class.